Hey y'all, so it is back to school. Many college students across the country are returning to classes this week, next week, and probably early next month as well. And I wanted to give a few tips for my Black college students. So I was a Black college student, still am, first generation across the board. And I just want to impart some knowledge on you all in light of back to school. But before I get started, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Hey y'all, happy back to school. Do you need funds for college? Listen, if you want to figure out how to get the free scholarship and grant money that I'm always talking about, click the link in my description box below. It's free. Okay, so first things first, get a mentor. And most importantly, make sure your mentor knows how higher education works. So as someone who worked in higher education, who has worked in higher education for the past 4 years, it's really a science to these things. A lot of times you don't know unless you're like enmeshed in the system like every single day. And there are just a lot of nooks and crannies where our Black and brown college students get lost. So it is important that you find a mentor who is familiar with this system. So many times, I see our college students kind of leaning on people who don't know anything about how higher education works. So, my advice is always, if you're going to look for a mentor, that person should have done what you're trying to do and done it successfully, or that person should be a part of, what you're trying to do on a regular basis. So that is so important. Just because mama older than you, big mama older than you, abuela, whoever, that does not mean that they know how this system works. So find someone who's already in it. That may be a professor. That could be an older graduate student. Listen, it could be somebody who just works in the front office, in the financial aid department. But someone who's going to invest the time to mentor you, telling you, hey, this is where you go for this. This is how you navigate this. This is who you go ask for this. Somebody who's really, looking to take on a mentee. I think that's so important. I think about, my time as an undergraduate student, as a first generation college student, like I ain't know nothing, girl. And I was able, to really navigate a lot of these things, even being the professional, that I am today, because of the mentorship that I sought out. So get a mentor. Number 2, all financial aid ain't good. I noticed that, especially for our first generation college students, and particularly for our Black and brown college students, that we hear the word financial aid and we're just thinking, oh, free money. Listen, some of it is free money. That is grants and scholarships. If it ain't a grant or a scholarship, daughter or son, it ain't free. You got to pay that money back with interest. And a lot of times, when you take out that non-grant or non-scholarship money, it begins to accrue interest that day. So that is so important to know the difference regarding financial aid. Look for those scholarships. It's not just going to come to you. Yeah, you got to do some digging. You got to talk to people. That's why you need a mentor who can kind of guide you through that process, who can write a recommendation letter for you. But Black and brown students are going into student loan debt higher than any other race, especially Black women. So it is important that you are looking at the financial aid that you do not have to pay back, because once you graduate, you don't already, you want to focus on starting your life. You want to focus on getting that job, finding that place, maybe moving to that new city. It is dang near impossible to do those things when you are already covered in student loan debt. I mean, drowning. So please be aware of that. All financial aid ain't good. Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. It is okay if you have to drop a class because you're not going to be able to afford it. Slow and steady wins the race. Nobody gets an award for graduating college early, okay? Nobody cares that, that person graduated early. Run your own journey that you can afford. And in light of financial aid, once you're getting that grant and scholarship money back that you don't have to pay back, save your refunds. Oh my gosh, everybody, once you graduate, you want to be able to go get a place of your own. You may want to go reward yourself with a trip, but save your refund money. Put it in, some type of savings fund, in case you do have an emergency, say your tire blows out, you want to be able to dip into that fund, to take care of that. It is so important to, have something to leave college with along with your degree, and that's money, right? I remember all the refund checks I got, girl, I couldn't tell you where they went because I was just spending them on frivolous stuff. Don't be sucked in by the material things that you don't need. This is the only time in your life where most people don't have major bills, right? I remember I had a car registration, or not car registration, I had car insurance, and I had my cell phone bill. That was 2 bills. If I would have been saving my refund money like I was supposed to, I would have had more of a leg to stand on once graduating college. And my best friend, when we moved into our apartment together after we graduated, she was kind of, looking for jobs and things like that. And she had so much money that she had saved that she didn't really have to go right into work. She was able to choose the employment that best fit her needs at that time. So let that be you. Save the money that you're getting. You're going to need it once you graduate college. Invest in the materials that you need. So many times I have noticed our students do not have the basic materials that they need to be successful in college. What am I talking about? You need a laptop. You should not be writing papers on your phone or even on your tablet, because a lot of these tablets, they're mobile devices, so they may not be able to access certain websites in the way that they're intended to be used. You need to invest in a laptop and not the $200 Black Friday special. I'm not saying it needs to be a MacBook, but it needs to be something that's going to get you through the entire 4 years of college or even beyond that, especially for my folks who want to go to grad school. Invest in the materials that you need. Why do you have a $200 wig, the latest iPhone, and these designer sneakers, but you don't have a laptop? You don't have a printer so that you can scan documents in. These are things that all college students need. You don't want to be behind the curve because you don't have the things that you need. That's going to affect your ability to do well. So put away the materialistic stuff and invest in the things that you need. Another great tip that I want to give is to find your people. Who are your people? Many Black and brown college students, they are at PWIs, primarily white institutions. And, it can be intimidating when you don't see anybody who looks like you. It can be so discouraging. It is so important for you to find your people. Listen, you already know Black and brown people, baby, we ain't gonna do nothing else. We gonna find each other, okay? So find your people, introduce yourself. Yeah, it's scary, but we're all here for the same thing. And you're going to need a community to build you up when you're feeling down, when you just failed that test or failed that class. You're going to need a tribe of folks really pushing you and reminding you what you're here for. So find your people. All right, y'all. Lastly, listen, you matter. Black college student, brown college student, person of color, you matter. It is so important for you not to forget that, to not to be intimidated or just become overwhelmed and forget your goals. You matter. Your contributions to that college campus are just as equally important as anyone else's. Keep pushing. Ask for help. Remember why you're there and what the ultimate goal is. It's to better yourself professionally. It's to better your lineage, and right, and that can be a lot, especially for our first generation college students, to have that on your back. But don't be so hard on yourself. This is your first time doing this. Listen, we all fail. It's a part of the process. It just adds a little more seasoning to your plate. So keep going. Listen, in light of back to school, I'm always excited about back to school. I'm starting back classes next week, and I'm writing chapter 3 of my dissertation, so I'm right along with you. But jump in the comments and let me know, what are your tips for Black college students or brown college students? What questions do you have as a first generation college student? Drop those questions in the chat. And listen, if you want to know the ins and outs of navigating college, be sure to click this playlist here. Bye.